Hi there, this is Cece with Going Solo, and you're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And it is, as always, a pleasure to have you on the show. We are very, very excited to have our guests. But before we have our guests, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I am Cece Schatz, and I am the doyenne of relationship building. I help take you through probably one of the toughest times of your life, through relationship loss, through to transition of dating and dating. And so that is what I'm all about. I'm the doyenne of relationships. And speaking of that, I have this great circle of friends, and I have a good friend with me tonight, and I cannot wait to introduce her. Her name is Ronnie and Ryan. She is a love and dating coach, and she has worked with successful singles women who have really had hot careers, but a chilly love life for over 17 years. And she came to this work through her own quest for love, dating 30 men in 15 months. So how about that? And to go on to meet the man of her dreams. And she's happily married now. And she's the author of the Amazon bestseller, He is the One, Find Mr. Right by Spotting Mr. Wrong. So let me say that again. He is the one, find Mr. Right by spotting Mr. Wrong. I mean, my gosh, isn't that what we need? So everybody needs to drop what they're doing right now, take their phone so you can still continue to listen to the show, and buy that book, because I think that that is absolutely wonderful, wonderful information. It's been downloaded over 17,000 times. Ronnie has been featured in ABC, Fox, CBS, MSN.com, Yahoo.com, eHarmony, BBC, and NPR, as well as all around the web, all around social media. So she really knows her stuff, and I'm excited to bring her on board. So welcome to the show, Ronnie.
Thank you, Cece. I'm so happy to be here and to be here with all your fans.
Oh, it is great having you, for sure. Tell us a little bit about how now I know that you dated a lot. You said that yourself, in your bio, but you dated a lot, and it really came to able to find the one for you. So tell us about this journey that you embarked upon and how it really set the pace for your career.
Okay, great. So I was in advertising and marketing before this job. And so when I was single, I was 40. I woke up, I was still single. I'd never been married. And I was really depressed about that. I thought, I had no hope, no options, and no evidence that anything was going to be different. So then I got really kind of fed up. And I thought, you know what? I'm a smart person. I can figure this out. I'm going to figure this out. So I started doing all the things I said I would never do again to meet men. But I did them with a new attitude, which is why we have the title of the show about mindset today. I did everything again, but with a completely different mindset, a completely different attitude. And that changed everything, which is how I found 30 men to even date and in the 15 months, and then find the man that I'm married to. So that is what really propelled me into wanting to do this work, because I figured if I can figure this out, then I can help other women figure this out. And I had a lot of single girlfriends at the time too. So that's why I do what I do today. And I've been doing this for 17 years.
That is marvelous. I'm putting our title of our show up so everyone can see it. But it is your love mindset crushing your chances of love? And I think that is really a very cool title of the show, because I think we tend to do that sometimes, don't we? I mean, I know even myself out there dating, I think I sabotage some relationships for sure. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, if you have a mindset that all the good men are taken, or love has passed you by, or it's really too late for you, or why even bother because it's so hard or difficult and painful to date, then that's sort of the energy you're putting out there. And so according to the law of attraction, for those of the listeners who know what that is and believe in that, they say like attracts like. So what that means is if you feel like it's never going to happen, and you put the energy out there that it's never going to happen for whatever reason, then you're creating more energy and sending more energy out about how it's never going to happen into the universe all around you. It's in your energy field. And they've proved all this stuff now. It's not just woo-woo nonsense anymore. but the physicist has actually proved this through their experiments or mathematics or whatever, that this is real stuff. Your energy field is real. We're made out of electricity. So when you can shift to a positive mindset where you have at least some optimism that something could happen and you could meet a good guy and it's possible, that changes everything. It changes how you present yourself, how you interact with men. It changes the opportunities and who is attracted to you through your energy. So it makes a huge difference.
I get that, Ronnie, but I wonder sometimes why we're creating, I don't know if we have a call or someone, I can pull our call number up, but we could try. WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, can I help you? Hello, would you like to be on the show today? Hello? Nope, I think we had a wrong number, but we can take live calls if you guys want to give us a call. But I was going to say that, and I should really put up our call number, but I was going to say that sometimes I think that we tend to, I'll put our call number right there. So if anyone wants to call us, right there's our number, 727-238-8970. You can call us now if you'd like. We're on the live broadcast. So I was going to say that I feel that sometimes we're sabotaging there. Sometimes we're putting that negative out there because of fear. Now maybe we are having a call. Let's see. Going Solo Network, can I help you? Hello, you're live on Going Solo with Cece. Can I help you? Hi, would you like to join the show? Nope, I don't know what's happening, but our phones are ringing. So I was going to say that I'm wondering if it's fear. Do you think that the reason we sometimes sabotage ourselves, we have this self-doubt within us? And I like what you say about making a mind shift, because I think we do have to make a mind shift, don't we?
Well, I can tell you, I'm a huge believer in that idea that fear can really get in the way, because it's easier to just reject all the men before they reject you and not put yourself out there and be vulnerable. And, I know that it's not easy because I went through it. But I can tell you this, when I started out, I certainly had a mindset that love had passed me by and I was doomed, because I had no evidence to the contrary. But then I decided that I was going to figure it out. And so the very first thing I did, Cece, I decided I have within me love energy. And so it must have been dormant. That's what I figured. So I thought, well, how can I move my love energy? So I created a whole process that is still what I share with my clients today about how to open my heart. And I actually wrote a bunch of little songs that were affirmations put to music of my own creativity. I won't quit my day job. And singing my little song. But they made me happy. And so when I sang my little songs about being positive, about finding love or whatever, that was time I spent being happy about the idea of love. And that promoted more and more optimism over time. But it definitely shifted my energy, because whenever I was saying my affirmations or singing my little songs, those are moments that I was literally happy, whether I was washing dishes, driving the car, in the shower. It didn't matter. On my walk for the day, because, people say, well, I don't have time for that. Oh, yes, you do. Because you do it while you're doing everything else. And that definitely created a mind shift for me. It works for my clients. It works for everybody who puts their energy into deciding, I'm going to shift this. I'm going to become more optimistic. I'm going to find love. This is going to work.
Now that's so right. When you make up your mind about something, anyone, when we make up our minds about something, we can move mountains,
Yeah.
And so I really think that you are definitely onto something, because when we start doubting ourselves, when we start having this self-doubt, it's really a negative vibe, absolutely, that we're sending out into the universe. And so who wants to be with a negative person? I certainly don't want to do that.
Yeah, even if you don't come across as that negative, there's still something being held back because you don't really want to be vulnerable, because you don't want to take the chance, which I understand. But when you decide it is going to work, then you're more open, you're more attractive, you're more available, you're easier to talk to. And as a result, your interactions with men are different.
Yeah, that's so right. You know, I guess when you're talking, you don't realize what's
Right.
coming across. You know, you put yourself forward. I know for myself that I never really had trouble attracting men. That wasn't the problem. The problem I think I had with myself is really thinking that I'm worthy enough to be able to have a relationship. And I didn't realize that myself until I really started, backpedaling a little bit and thinking to myself, well, why wouldn't I be, Why wouldn't, and I think that's coming from a very difficult time in relationship loss and moving through to that next level. So, I think we do have to do work on ourselves to be
Yes.
able to start feeling good about ourselves. But I like what you say about being happy, because when fake it till you make it sometimes. And, it just rubs off. And so if you can just get yourself into that constant way of doing things that's going to uplift you, it's going to send you into that, that next horizon or that next step or level that you need to be in, right?
Absolutely. And that's what I mean when I talk about loving energy and getting your own loving energy moving and being more loving in your life in general to whoever you interact with where it's appropriate and to the people you know and love anyway, the people you're close to, but also coming from a place of love with whoever you're talking to just is from an open heart place. So I'm not saying you're going to be a doormat with everyone. That's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about coming from a positive place and living the loving life you want to live and live it now.
Yeah. My mother used to say, it reminds me of my mom, when she used to say to me, well, whatever you want, whatever you dream of, put it on the refrigerator and it will come true. And so it's the same kind of thought process. It's like, if you truly believe in it, if you truly want it to happen, you have to put it out there in order to be able to have it come back to you, right?
Absolutely. And another thing that happens is as you put your toe in the water of doing this shift, the mindset shift to get to the love mindset, it will build on itself. It gets its own momentum. So it's not like you're pushing some boulder up the hill. Once you decide, all right, I'm going to work on this, I'm going to try it, I'm going to start moving my love energy, things will start to happen that'll make you smile or make you happy, or that you'll see some kind of shift, or somebody will pay attention to you didn't expect, or somebody will say something nice to you or whatever. And that makes you do a little bit more and it builds on itself. It's so amazing. At one point, I was dating 3 guys named John, which I have to tell you was a little hard. And and I was singing this song to myself that I had changed some of the words to Love Potion number 9. So I was singing this song like, I'm so alluring and cosmically, I'm so magnetic, good men flock to me. And so I had this whole thing about, who was going to flock to me and how easy, and hearing wedding bells and all this stuff. And when I was singing that Love Potion number 9 song, oh my gosh, with my words, my affirmations, there were so many men. I had never in my life ever experienced that. I'd never even dated, CC. I had a boyfriend in high school and a boyfriend in college, but we didn't date. We just started hanging out. We ended up in these 3-year relationships. So I really didn't know anything about dating at the time. And I was floored at all the men that just kept showing up. So, hey, if it happened to me, it could happen for anyone.
Well, you're very uplifting. And so everyone wants to be around someone that's uplifting. I think that's true. I've been out with a few people that have been very negative, and I just didn't rock my boat. So you do definitely want to be with someone that's positive. So what kind of steps can we give our audience to kind of move forward into a more positive attitude? Now, you mentioned singing, maybe doing some songs, putting the words, some of the positive words into songs. Is there anything else that you could suggest that they might want to do that will raise their level and give them a little bit more self-assurance in dating?
Sure. Some of these things people may have heard of before, but maybe you haven't done them, or you haven't done them all, or you haven't done them with the level of energy that'll really make it move for you. So, of course, a classic thing is a treasure map or a vision board. Mm-hmm. And what I recommend in that is to have pictures of things you want to do together and pictures of couples from the back. You don't want to see any faces because you want to leave room for, we don't know who it's going to be. So you can show couples and stuff, but no faces, or you could black out the faces or cover them up with, whatever. And so create a vision board of what it would be like for you to be in love with this fabulous person, man or woman, whoever it is for you. And then put it in a place where you can see it often, and don't let it just be like decoration. Make sure you look at it and you feel it, because so much of this mind shift stuff is really about feeling the feelings now that you want to feel later. That's really what it's about, right? Holding that energy. Your emotions are really what sets up the energy. So when you look at that vision board, don't just look at it and go, oh yeah, that's not happening. Look at it and go, oh yeah, I'm going to find the one. And those are all the things we'll do, and feel how great that feels. So that's one way to really get your love energy moving. Another way could be to imagine your heart, in your heart center. So it doesn't have to be over your actual heart, but in the center, behind the sternum, let's say. Imagine that there's a rosebud that's super tight and small and just getting ready to blossom, like it's the beginning of June, right? And so let it and visualize it just open slowly. All those petals going to grow and unfold and unwrap, and allowing that beautiful center of the rose to show until all the petals are like spread out and open, and the flower is in all its glory in your heart. And that is a fabulous heart opening exercise. When you put your energy into doing that every day, even if you only spend 1 minute doing it, that can make a big difference too.
Oh, that's amazing. Let me show you what I have done. Just share something with you, and then maybe you want to even share that with your audience. But I made a love jar. I don't know if you guys can see it. I made a love jar, and in the love jar you put honey. I put rose petals. There's a bunch of stuff I put in, and then you put on a piece of paper. You write, what you want, the love or whatever you want, and then maybe some of the qualities of which they have, and then you have to turn it a certain way and you put it in. And so anyhow, it's kind of like my vision board in a jar, really.
Yeah.
And so I shake it, and then I do a little prayer or whatever, and wake up the universe and say, come to me, and I light a candle and I let it go. And so as you were saying that, I'm thinking, absolutely, that is exactly what you have to do. You have to do something to where your mind is thinking in the positive of what you truly want to have into your life. And then you have to open your heart to be able to allow it to come to us, to embrace that and be smart enough to be aware of when it comes.
Yes. Very good point. Yes, be aware. Yeah, it makes a difference.
Talk a little bit about that. So when someone does come in, because you're the dating expert here, so when someone does come into your life, I mean, when you meet somebody, then what do? Do you just continue to have an open mind? Do you continue to live in the moment? What would you recommend?
Well, I am a big believer in not dating one man at a time or one woman at a time until you decide you want to be exclusive, because that's when you decide you're going to focus on somebody. And I've seen a lot of people who do what a lot of people call serial dating, where they go out on a date with somebody and then they think, well, let me see what happens. And they don't look at their other opportunities, maybe from online or the apps or whatever. And they say, I'm just going to focus on one person at a time. But what happens is people naturally get attached a lot of times. 2, 3, 4 dates, you start to feel attached. And even if that you haven't totally qualified them to be the right person for you, you start thinking, well, I'm already in this, I'm already invested. And then, you might not end up with the right person that way. That's how sometimes people date and break up, date and break up, date and break up. So what I feel is better is date one and date as many as you have time for who are interested that you like, until somebody goes, let's shut down our profiles and let's be exclusive and let's see where this goes. Because, I like you and let's see what happens. So I would say keep an open frame of mind. The most important thing about manifesting, I feel, is not to focus on who. Because we don't know what one person's going to do, and we don't control anybody. It's hard enough to control ourselves, right?
No. Yeah, absolutely. I totally get that.
So I'm always working on controlling myself. So ultimately, since you don't know who's going to work out, why put energy into that? Just put energy into still attracting the highest and best love for you and all concerned. And that way you don't have to worry about if that guy's the right guy or that woman's the right guy, whatever it is, you don't have to worry about that. It will come, it'll be clear, it'll work itself out. And if it doesn't, you can always ask. Let's say 8 dates go by and you're into it. You could always say, what do you think about taking our profiles down and being exclusive?
Yeah.
So,
but I found too, generally the men, if they're into you, they want you.
yes.
They'll tell you.
Yes.
Hey, let's see where this is going. If they're hoeing and humming, then they haven't quite made that decision yet, and so you, above all, do not want to only date them. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And if you bring up exclusivity and does hem and haw or say he's not sure or whatever, that's your definite clue that you might be on the wrong path with this man. No matter how much you like him, if he's not ready, you're not going to make him ready.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing goes for women, because there are women who aren't ready, who just want to date around. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. It's just that you want to find someone who has that same agenda as you. If you want lasting love, you want someone who also wants lasting love.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when you were talking about qualifying, when he hasn't qualified yet, what do you mean by that?
Well, this is part of what's in the book. So, and it's actually called "Is He the One? Find Mr. Right by Spotting Mr. Wrong." But they would find it anyway. If they put in Ronnie and Ryan, they'll find my author page. So you have to see where you're compatible, and that takes time. What's easier is, we'll call it, disqualifying people who don't meet your needs. So if you meet somebody who's always super busy and never has time to see you, that's disqualifying. If you want a lasting relationship that you want to build into something and that person never has time, that's a disqualifier. And another thing could be that if you're really religious and that's super important to you, and somebody's a different religion, that for you will be a problem. Same as right now, politically, everything is so polarized. You probably want someone who has similar political views, so you're not having arguments day and night, right? Every time you watch the news. So these are the things that show compatibility. And when you're looking for compatibility because you want lasting love, you want to find somebody who has a similar energy level. Like, does that person like to work out and eat healthy or whatever? Or do they want to sit around and watch a lot of sports on TV? Or just go shopping or whatever, depending on who you're dating. So you want to find somebody who's going to be compatible, who has similarities. Everything doesn't have to be the same. That's not likely. But you need to have enough similar ways of looking at the world that you can understand each other and get each other and be happy spending time with each other. So another good thing is sense of humor. Like, do you get each other's sense of humor? I had this boss once who had the strangest sense of humor to me, not to him. And I just never knew. Was he kidding? Was he joking? I never knew. It was so uncomfortable. So you want to get each other too.
Yeah, I agree with that one, sense of humor. Now, I do want you to know, Ronnie, that I probably lost a lot of guys on your very first thing. If he doesn't have time, it's like me. If you don't have time to date, dump her. So I think I've lost some guys now.
Possible. But you are who you are, and you have to do what you have to do. So then he wasn't the right guy because he didn't have the patience to wait for you. That's all.
Yeah, and that is true. I mean, there is, like a good friend of mine used to always say, there's a lid for every pot, right? And so, it's very, very important that we do understand those qualifying, information that we really should make a list of what is important.
Yes, sure.
And those are things that no matter how nice they seem to be, you're never going to change. Those items that are so valuable to you, very important to you, are not really going to change. So you really got to be straight up about that. Don't you think that women tend to kind of wear our heart on our sleeve a little bit,
Do you mean in terms of letting a man know how you feel, or what do you mean by that?
Well, we tend to get involved a little bit too quickly without like the backstepping, making sure they qualify, those kind of things.
Yes.
When when they're like nice to us, especially if we come out of a relationship loss where, you know, our exes were, you know, kind of mean or whatever to us, then you come across somebody that's really nice and kind to you. You tend to get a little bit more involved than maybe you should because you haven't qualified them enough, right? I mean, you get what I mean?
I think there's a lot of truth in what you're saying, and it's a very good point. And that goes back to why I think you shouldn't narrow your options down too quickly and just date a bunch of people to see. First of all, you never know who's going to call you again if you're a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and if you're a man, you never know who's going to say yes again or answer your call or whatever. So why not? I always say hedge your bets and go out with a bunch of different people to see who has lasting impact on you, who keeps saying yes or who keeps pursuing you. And rather than, you know, get all attached prematurely before you even know if you connect, because that's what creates all the heartbreak when people keep trying to work it out. And they're like, but, you know, such a good person, this should work. And, you know, that's not always enough. And love is not always enough.
You know, one thing that struck me when you were talking was the flavor of individuals. You know, when I say that, I mean that there are all different types of, you know, women, different types of men out there. And they look differently, they behave differently, they have, you know, different sets of values, different things. So it's I think that we have to be open when we're dating. And same thing for men. It's like I was talking to someone recently and he said to me, he said, well, she's not a blonde. I said, go buy a box. I mean, you know, I mean, women can change their hair color. I can be brunette in a second, you know, if that's what it takes to rock your boat, no problem. You know what I mean? But it's like, but I think we have to really enjoy them, number one, the moment and the flavor, experience other people, you know, other cultures, maybe other, you know, just different things. We really start to understand more of what it is that is important to us. I mean, your core values, right? But I think we have to give people, you know, a little bit of a break.
I think that you are so onto something with talking about that, because my personal feeling is that dating to find love is absolutely a journey of self-discovery. Like, you're going to learn about other people, but you're going to learn a lot about yourself if you really keep yourself open about what works, what doesn't work, what you thought would work. And that makes a tremendous difference. So, and to be willing to let go.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you let go of the wrong man or the wrong woman, you can find the right one. But that's the only way. You got to let go. So, but I absolutely think you're right. I think it's good to, especially if you have a type, the best thing you can do is avoid your type for a little while, because you might find, and this is what I've seen over 17 years, a lot of times the type of person you really like comes with the baggage that breaks you up. It's like a package deal. So all the things that make you so hot and bothered and you think are awesome, somehow they always have those other qualities that push you over the edge and don't work for you. So when you get past your type and you start to explore other kinds of people, like you were saying, that's when you really have a shot of finding a good match, because you're letting go of something that if it worked, it would have already worked.
Yeah. What about attraction? We hear so much about, oh, you know, you'll know within 3 seconds of meeting someone with regards to attraction. What do you think about that?
You know, in this particular instance, I think that men and women are a little bit different. I think that men are either attracted or they're not. But I've seen women who become attracted to a man, like maybe on the second or third date, as he relaxes a little and shows more of his real personality and he's not as nervous or whatever, then something endearing might happen. And then, for example, I had one client who told me she could not date any bald men. No. I'm like, you're eliminating a lot of the population, you know? And she, you know, so finally one guy called her and she's like, what should I? I'm like, could you just go? So she went, because bald men weren't her type. She went and she called me the next year. Said, oh my gosh, I can't. So I'm so glad I went. Thank you. Thank you. He's awesome. He's amazing. He's one of, I didn't even care that he didn't have any hair. So
That's
I
funny.
think women, attraction can definitely grow depending on a man's personality and how he treats them, and some, other things about the man can be very endearing, and that can up his attraction. But I also say go on 3 dates. After 3 dates, if you're not sure and you're not even sure if you're attracted or whatever, then let it go, because you gave it 3 tries, and that's really all you need to do. So if you don't find attraction after 3 dates, you probably won't.
Well, don't you think traction comes in different ways? I mean, I guess maybe that's because of the woman, like you were saying, the woman feels differently. They tend to just look
We're more
at.
in our heads.
I'm sorry, we're what?
We're more in our heads.
Yeah. So maybe that's it. But you're right. I guess guys, as soon as they see you, if they're not attracted to you, that's it.
That's it. That's it. Absolutely true. That's why Patty Stanger is a piece of work, but she says some things that are really true. The millionaire matchmaker, and one of the things is this. She goes, men are attracted and they know it right away, right? They know it right away. But women fall in love in their heads, in between the ears, and so sometimes it can take longer, and attraction can grow. So I have found that to be very true, and it was true for myself as well.
Yeah, I agree with that, because my ex-husband, that's how I felt with him. I wasn't overly attracted to him at the beginning, but the more I dated him, the more I absolutely fell in love with him. So it just, all the opposites, and that's something else we should talk about, is the opposites of us. What I found with him is that he was so very different from me, which kind of scared me a little bit, but I liked all of those other qualities, and they were qualities that I didn't have. So let's talk a little bit about how they say opposites attract. What's your opinion on that?
I'm so glad you brought this up because my husband and and we've been married for 19 years now. If we were any more different, we would start being more like each other. We are like 180 degrees different, like I want to get from point A to point B as fast as possible, and he wants to go by the beach, which is the long way, so he can see the sunset, So I benefit from his interest in going the long way to see the sunset, and he benefits from my wanting to get to the shortest point sometimes. So we do tend to balance each other out. And I was talking recently to another dating coach, and she was saying how she thinks people need an 80% match. And I'm like, really? Because my husband and I don't have that much in common, but we get each other's sense of humor. He's always making me laugh or sending me silly texts or something. And he can be very sweet, and he'll go to the store for me or change my oil or do whatever. Like, we work really well together, and we're very, very different. So I do believe opposites can attract, and it can work. I don't think that just because you're a skier, you need to have a skier. It would be nice. It would be nice. I wish my husband would go on Caribbean vacations with me, but he's full of freckles and he's not going. So I'll go with a girlfriend or whatever, I mean, I wouldn't give him up just because he won't go to a beach vacation with me.
Yeah. I was talking to a guy recently, and we were talking about that, and he was saying that, he doesn't want to fly. I said, well, why don't you want to fly? He says, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So, so she's going to have to take a vacation with her girlfriend. So, I mean, that's no big thing. He says, I love cruises. I'll go on a cruise. I said, okay, you take her on a cruise, and she goes, visits wherever she wants to go with her girlfriend. It's not a big hang up if you don't make it a big hang up,
And things have changed within marriages or long-term relationships today. I think we have a lot more freedom to do that kind of thing. Like, my mother growing up, that never would have happened. When my mother was married, no, they don't go on separate vacations. That's unheard of. But today, it's a lot more common, and the pressure's off. So, and that's just an example of something that, you can be different and get along. And sometimes it can really work, like you said, because, you're like a dovetail partner where you fit together nicely, even though you don't have everything in common. So it can work.
Yeah. The other thing is the strength of someone. What I have found too is that sometimes what I'm weak in, the person that I'm kind of attracted to is usually stronger in those areas. Do you find that?
That's interesting.
Like, for instance, I'm very outgoing. Okay, probably outgoing more than most of the men that I've ever been with. And so, but the quality of them being more quiet and more in tune with themselves is an attraction to me.
Well,
So,
I definitely understand what you're saying because I'm certainly more socially outgoing too. And my husband is more quiet and reserved. And yet it's funny to watch him as time has gone by because he will quietly talk to almost anyone. I don't know that he always did that, but he does that now. And I'm like, you know, everyone, you know, but I'm much more boisterous and louder and, you know, so we have very different ways of kind of doing a similar thing. So yeah, I think you know, it's such a classic thing that opposites attract. It's just, it's a classic thing for a reason.
right. Because I know, for instance, and that's bringing up, but only because it's kind of a benchmark for me, is like, you know, my ex was a little bit more analytical. I'm certainly not analytical at all. I mean, he always thinks before he does something, and I'm always going, yeah, let's do it, you know, let's go.
Yeah.
We got to think this through. We got to, you know, we got to get all our ducks in a row. And I'm like, I'm already out the door, you know, in the car, waiting, ready to go.
That's fun. That's fun. But you're right. That's like, I want to go the shortest distance and my husband wants to take the long road. And we balance each other out because I need to learn how to just relax and take it easy. So, you know, it definitely can help for me too. Do type A, learn to calm down, you know?
Yes, I know, absolutely. So that brings me to what I was thinking was that sometimes we just have to be a little bit more easygoing, laid back, and allow things to happen in our lives. And so I love the idea that you manifest what you want, you know, you put it out there, what it is in the universe, you know, to have an open heart, to bring someone to you. But then when they come to you, you have to be able to be a little bit open-minded, a little trusting, probably, right, in the universe, and allow yourself to embrace what's happening instead of making a judgment. So often we judge people before we actually get to know them, don't we?
You know, you must be psychic because I got to tell you, you know, when I met my husband, I thought he was cute for sure, but I didn't know if he was the one or not. And I had just come to a decision, probably 2 men before him, that I had to stop looking at every guy as if he was the one, because it was kind of making me crazy. And then I would get upset if they weren't the one. And I was sitting in all this judgment. Then I wasn't having the best time of the date. And then I wasn't that attractive. And it wasn't working for me. And so I had decided, you know what? I'm just going to go on these dates and I'm just going to have the best time for 90 minutes. And then I'm going to leave. And that's it. And so my goal was have fun while you're there and leave. And that's it. And I'm not going to worry, is he the perfect man for me? Should I marry? Because it's so getting ahead of ourselves. You know, can you just have a conversation? Can you enjoy and sit through a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, a beer, whatever it is, have an ice cream cone, you know, and have a decent conversation and wish you knew more? You know, that's really a much better method, because dispense with all that painful judgment that doesn't make you happy anyway. When we're judging everybody else, we're often really judging ourselves too. And often we're the harshest judge of ourselves, you know? So, and goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. Your loving attitude is just look for the good in whoever you're spending that one date with. Look for something good in them, because then you can have a decent time and you can walk away. And if you don't want to see him again, you don't have to. But the more times you have that kind of positive interaction, even if you're just being your most positive self, the better you're going to feel, the more people you're going to meet, and the more attractive you're going to become.
Yeah, that's so well said. So well said. And that's why you're the expert for sure. One thing I caught that you had said is that wishing you knew more. And so often, I think when we go out on dates, we're so caught in the element of the date, right? Okay, we got to look perfect, be perfect, this and that. We want to entertain the other party. We want to, have that conversation flowing or whatever. But really, when it comes down to it, if it's a real match or if it's a real, beginning of a relationship, don't we just want to know more?
Right.
Yeah. And so that's the tester for us. I think when we leave or we're ready to leave, is if we don't want to leave or we want to know more about them, that's when you've got someone that you need to know more. You need to find out more about. That you need to have that next date for sure.
Absolutely. And that's why I say keep your first date short, and then you leave them wanting more. In sales, they always say, don't spill all your candy in the lobby, you don't want to give everything away before you even get into the movie. So go out, spend an hour or 90 minutes, say thank you, and go home, because there can be another date. I don't believe in these first dates that are 4 or 5 hours long, because sometimes people start getting comfortable and say a lot of stuff they should never be revealing, because they're getting too familiar before they've really vetted a person, and you're better off having a second date than spilling your candy in the lobby.
Yeah. Plus, you're probably drinking more than you should, because if you're drinking wine or something like that, you can go and have one glass and you're okay. But if you start having, 3 of them,
Yeah.
you're going to tell them everything about you, and they don't really want to know all that. But yeah, you're totally right. And it's going to make you look not so pleasant. But you're so right. So tell us a little bit about how we can get a hold of you.
Okay, sure. So my website is nevertoolate.biz, and that's TOO for the 2, nevertoolate.biz. And that's where my blog is, highly trafficked, lots of comments, good articles on there for you to read and learn from. And then you can call me at 203-877-3777. There it is on the screen. So that's another way to reach me. And I answer, emails and phone calls and blog questions.
Now, tell us a little bit about this free audio that you're giving the audience.
Sure. So part of having a positive mindset is about raising your love vibration. If love is the energy you want to send out, vibration is the way you measure energy. It's frequency or vibration, whatever. So I'm calling it love vibration. So I came up with 8 ways, and we talked about a couple today, where you can absolutely increase that loving energy with you and that you send out into the universe. And part of it is loving yourself more too. And so I have these 8 different ways. They're all simple. You don't have to do them all. You could do them all. You could pick your favorite 2 or whatever and try them and mix it up and try some other ones. And the more you do this kind of stuff for yourself and invest in your own loving energy, the more love you send out to the world, the more your vibration rises. And that's how you attract the kind of quality person from the heart center that you're looking for.
That's wonderful. So I'm going to bring this across on the screen so everyone can have it, but it's a free audio, and it's 8 ways to raise your love vibration. So it's right here. It's HTTPS : // and then it's nevertoolate.biz, and then love vibe.
/ Yeah.
Did I say it wrong?
No, it's just nevertoolate.biz / love vibe.
Yeah, okay. So we're now, one thing we have done to make it easier for all of you all is that we have created a special page right on our WGSN-DB Going Solo network. It's right there for you. You can capture all of her information, her bio, her links, so that you can connect with her. I would highly recommend, if you're out there dating, I would highly recommend to connect with her. Get her on social media, just follow what she says, because you know what? Sometimes when we do that, it's like, if you want to do something that's going to raise your vibration, you have to hang with people that are on that high level, And so I suggest that anyone on social media that is doing things that you're interested in doing, you connect with them because it raises your vibration. And the more that we start doing things and creating an action, I always call it a movement of choice. Once we start making that choice and we start making that movement, it just propels us into the next level of what we want to do. So I think it's awesome. So we do have everything right there. I will make sure I put that, the 8 ways to raise your love vibration. I'll put a button on there so you guys can go right through it. It'll be up there. We're not taking it down, so it'll be there for you. So when you listen, if you're listening to this broadcast, know that it'll still be there for you so that you can definitely capture that. And then make sure you go out and buy this book, because I certainly am. I have not read it, and so I'm going to do it because there's nothing better than to spot the wrong guy. I mean, if you're going to be dating, you might as well know how to do it, right? And so this book is definitely going to get it there for you. So it's like it's a bestseller, and it's is he the one? Find Mr. Right by spotting Mr. Wrong. And I do not know why I say that all wrong, but it says, is he the one? Find Mr. Right by spotting Mr. Wrong. And so definitely I would suggest get that. It's an Amazon bestseller. You're going to be able to find it. Now you have other books too. Am I correct?
I do. Like if you just put my name, Ronnie and Ryan, into the search box at Amazon, my page will come up with all my stuff on it.
Right. And we do have that on our WGSN-DB Going Solo network too. And so we have the books all listed there. And all you've got to do is just click on the picture and it takes you straight into her book. And then you can buy the book that way. And I highly recommend, I'm a very big believer in reading. I feel like you should, I feel personally at the end of every day, you should read 15 minutes or when you get sleepy. Because what it does is it puts in good positive information into your brain, and when you go to sleep, you're doing it in a way that's going to be a positive and a learning experience for you. So when you wake up, you feel energized. Then when you look at your vision board, like Ronnie says, first thing in the morning, you got it going on, right?
There you go. Beautiful. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it is great connecting with you. So do you have any last words for our listeners tonight?
I sure do. And thanks for asking that. I just want people to believe. You can believe in love and believe you can find it, because it can absolutely happen to you. My feeling is that love is your destiny. If you really want love and you take the steps, you will find it. I'm quite sure.
I agree with you on that. Absolutely. There is nothing better than to really be with the right person and to share your life with someone. And so that's why it's so important for us to bring you these wonderful experts such as Ronnie to allow you to be able to open yourself into new experiences. And I think really what we've learned tonight is definitely something that we need to take with us and know that if we can keep our heart open, if we can learn from others, such as yourself, Ronnie, we can be able to move forward into a real positive way in our life and be able to be the kind of person, number one, we want to be, and attract that kind of person into our lives. So I think it's wonderful. So thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. You made it so much fun. It was really wonderful.
Oh, it's great to have you. I can twist your arm and have you come back again, because I know we're going to be starting a new show called Date the Right One. And I would love to be able to have you on and talk a little bit more about dating and how we can help people, really embrace who they are and the type of person they want to have in their lives. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Well, this show went very, very fast. I've learned a lot myself, which I'm going to definitely take a hold of and be able to experience. I'm going to go out and buy our book myself, and I'm going to latch into that free audio because, every little bit we can learn it's better for us, right? So, if you don't like what you hear, just throw it out. But sometimes there's pieces here and there that you can embrace. And sometimes maybe you don't really catch it the first time around. You've got to listen to it again. And that's why we've got the rebroadcast for you. So we will be right here again on Going Solo with Cece. This is WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are the radio, TV, and podcasting station for singles. And it's so great to have you. I'll catch you back next week. Bye for now.